Welcome to practice. We're going to begin standing, but we are going to then be doing some kneeling. So if you need to get some equipment to put your sit bones on when you're kneeling, grab that. And we're just going to start off looking forward, but swinging your upper body, arms out from the shoulders. Something just happened to my screen. Going. You keep going. I don't know. Beautiful. And then arms down by your sides. But then we're going to swing the arm overhead and under your chin, kind of hanging. And as you're doing that, finding your breath this morning, how you feel. Nice. Good. And then we're going to take the arms up and bend the knees and sweep the arms up beside you. Good. And then back up. And then make that movement feel nice and floppy or springy. When you lift up, see if you can lift up onto your tiptoes. Ooh. Nice. Releasing. All right. So now for kneeling. And we're going to practice with a chair. You might not need it, but if you put that on your mat with the seat of the chair facing you. I'm also going to put a blanket for my knees to land on. So we'll see how that works. So we're going to go from standing, Tadasana, and just see if you've got your equipment in the right spot, because we're going to try and kneel down from here. So you might use your chair to help you. Good. And then kneel back onto your heels. Reach your arms back behind you. Take a little back bend, looking up. Good. So now we're going to tuck the toes under. You can put your hands on your chair. But rather than using your arms, really try to roll back over your feet to lift up. So the chair's just a suggestion of helpfulness rather than putting all your body weight into the chair. Good. Let's do the arms as well. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, little bend in the knees so you can bring your knees down to the floor. Flatten your feet. Kneel back onto your heel. A little bit of a back bend. Good. And then toes tuck under. We roll back over the feet and then press the heels down as you straighten up. Good. Good. Let's do a couple more of those. Little bend of the knees. So knees come down to the floor gently. Up to the feet on the floor. Getting back onto the heel. Looking up. Good. Lifting back up by tucking the toes under. Try to get that feeling of flexibility in the feet. Good. Inhale. Good. Great. Now, if you can do it without the chair, then do that. Otherwise, keep the chair with you for that little bit of help. Urdhva sort of halfway forward bend, so you can bring your knees lightly to the floor. Flatten the feet. Little back bend. Good. Tuck the toes under. Good. And one more. Urdhva. little bit of a forward bend and then kneeling down. Heel, sit bones to the heel, little back bend, virasana. Good. And then see how you go, tucking your toes right under. Urdhva. Nice. So that's one to practice. We're going to take the blanket out of the way now. Come to the back short end of your mat. Take your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana. Good. And little hand steps forward so that we're in a short downward facing dog pose with the heels as close to the floor as your legs might allow. And to warm up, the hamstrings pedal the legs, so bend one knee and then the other. And slow it down. Take your time to really notice that stretch in the back of your leg. But let the spine be nice and easy. Noticing your breath. Good. Now press both heels down to the floor. Good. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees and inhale and rolling up. Urdhva Hastasana. Tadasana. Feeling the flow of your breath, the energetic flow in your body. Urdhva Hastasana. Uttanasana. Hands heading forward into your short downward facing dog pose. Try and keep your heels on the floor. Let your head just hang down. Press your fingerprints, so stretch your fingers out wide. Good, really pressing the back of the legs, feeling that stretch. Open the chest towards the front of the leg. Good. We're going to take the left hand off the floor and reach back and try and hold near to your right ankle. Good, and then put the left hand back. And now take the right hand off the floor, reach back, and try and hold near to your left ankle. Pressing the heels. Good, and that hand goes back. And then little steps with your hands back towards your feet. Feet are hip width, parallel, legs are parallel, and rolling up, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Nice work, Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. And then Uttanasana. All right, now this time we'll walk the hands out to sort of that distance, short downward facing dog pose, so that your heels are as close to the floor as you can. And then we're going to walk the left hand, left foot forward, the right hand, right foot forward. So you can see there's a little bit of a list to the side, and we're walking forward to the front of the mat. You might have to do your hand in the foot. Pretty tricky. All right, at the front of the mat, we're going to roll up, arms up, and Tadasana. Nice work. Take the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana. Good. Take your right hand and hold that left ankle somewhere or behind the left leg, and left hand onto the sacrum. And we're going to reach the rib cage to the left. You can have your knees as bent as you need to, or you might be trying to straighten your leg, but really lift your left ribs, left shoulder. Maybe you can even take the left arm up and reach the back of the hand, the wall behind you.
Keep the sides of the neck nice and easy. Really easy. Good, and then release that side. And right hand on the sacrum. Left hand reaches to the outside of the right leg or the right ankle. Turn the ribs to the right. So the right ribs particularly are lifting here. Looking up towards the ceiling. And if you feel like you get a nice turn in your spine, and it's okay for your neck, put your right arm up as well. We'll try and reach back with the right hand. Good, and then releasing that side. And bend your knees. Inhale and rolling up. Looking up. Urdhva Hastasana. Tadasana. Beautiful. Hands in front of the heart. Utkatasana. Powerful pose. Sit your sit bones back towards your heels. Keep your legs parallel. Hug your tummy towards your spine. Draw your shoulder blades down. Breathing. Arms by the ears. Really reaching through the fingertips. Shoulder blades reach back. Look forward. And then straighten your legs. Urdhva Hastasana. Look up, lift the ribs. And Tadasana. We're going to take both arms up by the ears and reach the arms back behind you. Face the palms forward, fingertips down, and place your hands on your pelvis. Good. The fingertips are nearer to the tailbone. Tip the tailbone forward a little. Feel the quadriceps lift, the front of the hips lift, and start to make a long, graceful curve with the spine, a back bend. Elbows in towards each other and looking up. Good. And then we're going to slowly reverse that spinal curve into a forward bend. And let your upper body just dangle down. Try straightening your legs again, one at a time, it's fine. Feeling the flow of breath. Good, and then Urdhva Hastasana. Reach the arms up, look up. Good, take the arms back behind you. And again, palms forward, fingertips down. Press the tailbone forward, lift the front of the hips, lift the front of the quadriceps. So you feel really strong in your legs. There's a really good support for your lower back. Feel your spine make a graceful arch so that you can lift and shine the heart center upward. Elbows moving towards each other, breathing deeply. Beautiful. And then a very relaxed forward bend. Take your time. Notice the tension between one direction of the spine and the other. Enjoying your flow of breath. Straight legs if you can, but really, really relax your neck and your spine here. Good. We're going to do one more of those standing back bends. Preparation for Ustrasana. Arms up. Good. Reach the arms back behind you. Now you can put your hands back on the pelvis. It's quite comforting as you can see. Or you can try and reach down a little bit further down your leg. Good. But really lift the quadriceps. Tuck the tailbone forward. Feel powerful support in the leg as you make your back bend. The heart shining upward. Beautiful. Tune into the chest. And make your really comforting forward bend. Beautiful. We're going to step the left foot back so the heel is on the floor. Bend your front knee to give your spine some room to move. Take your left hand to the outside of your right foot, and you might be holding onto your leg or you might have your hand on the floor. And put your right hand, if you have your balance, on your seat. Good. So we're really reaching with that left hand over to the right. And then we're going to start to straighten the right leg and turn the ribs. Right ribs lifting towards the ceiling. Breathing. Good. And then releasing that side. And looking to the front, let's step forward, stand up and balance on the right. Take a balance hold. Whatever is going to challenge you just enough in your practice so that you can still find an ease to the shape of your spine. Connect calmly to the breath and experience all those little wobbles that make up your reflex and balance. Beautiful. Release that side. Urdhva Hastasana. Uttanasana. Good. And right foot back. So your heel is on the floor. Bend your front leg. Give yourself a little bit of room to move in your spine. So feeling like the skin is not tight over the lower back. Great. Take your right hand and put it, either hold your leg. It's harder to balance because you don't have your hand on the floor, or put your hand on the floor if you can reach on the outside of your left foot. So only lift up the left hand off the floor if you've got your balance. Good. And then we're turning the torso to the left ribs are lifting, and we're trying to straighten the left leg. A lot going on. Beautiful. Turning back to the front, step forward, lift up and balance onto the left foot, and take your balance hold. Something that challenges. Find the easeful shape of your spine and shoulders. Tune in calmly to the breath. And then releasing. Nice work. Just, you can stay sideways on your mat. I'm turning, you can see this from the front. We're going to bring the hands onto the hips somewhere, front of the hips, just aware of the pelvis. All right, bend your knees a little bit. Step your left foot back behind you and your tiptoes are on the floor. Now you can keep your tiptoes on the floor. If you have trouble with your balance on one foot, you could have your hands on the back of what's this part of the chair? Yeah, the back of the chair. The top of the back of the chair. All right, so finding your balance now. If you can balance on your right foot, lift your left toes off the floor. Good. Now the first one we're going to do is lifting the left hip so the belly looks to the left. And then we come back to center and we drop the left hip so the belly looks to the right. And then we come back to center. All right, we're going to do that 2 more times on each side. Good. And if you really have your balance, you want to make this a bit stronger, try it with your arms straight out from your shoulders, chest nice and wide.
Fine. Beautiful. All right. So that's the right hip done. You should be able to feel that the muscle will feel pretty warm down the right side of the hip, maybe even the buttock. These are hip stabilizing muscles. So let's try the other side. We bend the knees a little bit, right foot back, and tiptoes just on the floor, hands at the hips, or holding onto a chair, or lift your foot off the floor. Good. So we pick up the right hip, so turn the belly to the right, come back through center. Drop the right hip, turn the belly to the left. Good. Back through center. Pick up the right hip, turn the belly to the right. Drop the right hip, belly to the left. One more, and if you want to stretch your arms out for this one. So. Oh. Struggling with that this morning. Feet underneath the hips. All right, now we can do something a little different. Hands at the hips. Step your left foot back. Have your right knee a little bit bent. Okay. Again, you can have your hands on a chair. You can keep your tiptoes on the floor or lift the left leg up. Now, this time what we're going to do is just keep the torso exactly the same angle from the floor, but spin your torso and your leg around to the left. So you're spinning around the standing hip joint. Oh, just as far as it goes in both directions. One side to the other. And if you want to make it stronger, take the arms out from there. So different activation of the hip joint. Not really lifting the left hip here. Good. Back to center. Bend the knees a little, right foot behind, either tiptoes on the floor, hands on the chair, or lifting the back foot off the floor. Standing legs a little bit bent. Okay, so we're not really lifting the right hip this time. We're just spinning the torso and the leg around on the hip joint. Take your arms out from your heart if you want that to be a little stronger. Nice work. All right. We're going to do half moon posture. And it can be a pretty big reach to the floor. So what about we try it with a chair? Of course, you don't have to. You're going to stand so my right-hand side is facing the chair. See how I've got quite a distance? I'm going to turn my right foot to face the chair. And then I'm going to just dance the back foot up so I can put my right hand down. And you want your hand or your wrist under your shoulder. So just organize your distance there, foot to chair. So the right foot is parallel to the sides of the mat, toes facing the hand. Good. Now, you might have your left foot still on the floor, hold your balance. But we're aiming to really put the weight into the right leg and to lift the left leg. And you try to lift the left leg up parallel to the floor. Good. And then working on opening the heart forward, maybe even rolling the left rib back. And if you really have your balance, take your left arm. Good. And then we're going to release. Nice work. So you can do that with your hand on the floor. It's a much bigger reach. But we're going to turn around for now. So we're going to have the left foot toes facing the chair. So the foot is lined up parallel with the edges of the mat. And you need to find a nice solid
foundation for the wrist under the shoulder. That's fine. If you need to keep your right toes on the floor, that's fine. We're going to try and roll the right hip back still, roll the right rib back, opening the heart. Or you might be able to balance on that left foot and lift the right leg. But rolling the right hip back, same thing goes. Right rib back. Maybe you can take your right arm straight up to the ceiling, opening your heart. And breathe. Good. And then releasing. Nice work. If you've got the chair there, or put your hands on the floor and walk your feet back. Give your torso a big stretch. Sides of the neck lengthening. Nice work. And then releasing. You don't need your chair anymore. And we're going to take a seat. See how you're going with your sitting without using your hands. We really warmed our foot flexibility up with those kneeling and standing at the beginning of the practice. Simple cross-legged position. Take your arms up, out from your shoulders and turn the palms up. And we're going to reach fingertips in both side directions to the horizon. And keep the arms level to the floor. Whoa. You might see your neck wants to naturally turn and look in the opposite direction to the way you're reaching. Beautiful. Coming back to center. If you had your legs crossed, let's do that with the other cross of the leg. Arms back up from your shoulders. On the horizon plane and reaching. And back to center. We're going to take both legs to the right side. And if you're after a classic position here for the feet, then the left foot goes into the sole of the right foot. Doesn't necessarily work for everybody's needs. I moved my blanket so that it's only under my left sit bone. And in fact, if I make it a little bit higher by doubling it over, I get to sit up straighter. The posture feels nicer if you have that sense of ease from the beginning, even though your legs are doing something awkward. Great. We're going to take the left arm out. So your feet are on your right. Take your left arm out, rotate the shoulder forward and reach behind you as far as you can. So your left hand emerges somewhere on your right side. Good. And we're trying to hold the upper arm, the right upper arm, so above the elbow. You might not be able to get quite that far, but in that direction, or you can hold your t-shirt. Because if I've got hold of my right upper arm, I can then use that right arm to lever the left arm against the ribs and really turn the rib cage to the left. So the further you reach your right hand to your left knee, the bigger the turn on the rib. And finding your breath. That lovely length between the pelvis and the rib.
Good. And then releasing that side. Nice. And then we swap over your blanket to the other side, your legs to the other side. So feet are on the left now. Make that taller support that feels right in your body. So you get that nice upright or even feeling both sides of your spine. Classically, it would be the right foot in the sole of the left heel. Sole of the left foot. But do what feels comfortable enough for your knees. Okay, so feet are on the left. We're going to take the right arm out. Roll the right shoulder forward. Nice rotation. Beautiful. And then reach the right arm behind you as far as you can to the left side of your torso. Your fingers emerge somewhere around your left kidneys or even past your back. Good. And see what you can take hold of in terms of your left arm. So I'm trying to hold my upper arm over the elbow because then I can get a little bit of extra leverage. So manage what you can there. You might be holding a t-shirt. Wiggling your left fingers towards your right side. Ooh, and then we turn the ribs and looking back over the right shoulder. Bharata. Translate as a sage pose, wise person pose. In the awkwardness of this position, finding the breath. Good. And then, well, and we're going to lay down. I'd like to roll the lower body towards the floor overhead. And there's different ways of trying that. You can just give your knees a little nudge towards your chest. And so you're just really using your hands to help your legs go in that direction. Some people might be able to roll and go a little bit further and pick the pelvis up off the floor. Don't be in a rush to try and touch your toes to the floor overhead because it just might be too strong on your neck. So just approaching it with a nice awareness. Lifting as much of the pelvis off the floor as you can. If you can roll and balance a little bit on your shoulders, just hold your pelvis with your hands. Good. When you roll down, see if you can roll without your head lifting off the floor. So play around with that movement. Whatever feels doable. Good. And then either hold halasana or plough pose with the legs in that overhead direction, holding your pelvis, or take bamboo pose with the blanket under your hips. So if halasana is not working for your body, take bamboo pose. Connecting to your calm breath. And if you're in halasana with your legs overhead, then bring them back to bamboo pose now. So everybody in bamboo pose. Unless
Of course, it feels like a strain on your back or your belly. If that's the case, just have your blanket comfortingly under your sacrum and put your feet on the floor. So finding your breath. Good, and then bending in your legs and your arms and take your blanket out. Bring the inside edges of the feet together and the arms out from the shoulders. Left thigh over the right thigh. Lift the hips, swing them left, and the knees go right. And turn to look back over your left. Find ways that you can let go of tension. And then very aware of your core strength as you lift your legs back up. Back to center and right thigh over the left. Lift the hips, swing them right and knees go. Looking over your right shoulder. And looking for a way to give into the shape of the pose. And then core awareness to bring the legs back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest and rock a little from side to side. And as you do that, feel how the pelvis starts to walk away from the ribs to lengthening your lower back. Good. And if you put your feet on the floor and take the weight of your hips just off the floor enough to slide on the skin of your back. Your head away from your feet. And see how that lengthens the middle back and the neck. And just lay your arms out, palms up. You have time to stay in your own Shavasana. Straighten your legs out from here. Like me, time to finish your practice. Keep your legs bent and notice the breath in the belly. Calmness of the spine. And then rolling over to your right side. And coming up to sitting. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Finding your breath. The feeling of it. Namaste.